Greetings, dear hearts. Today's video is a reminder of the beauty in every relationship and how they shape us into the best versions of ourselves. I've been married for a decade, and my husband and I have maintained separate financial accounts throughout our marriage. The primary reason behind this arrangement is the significant age difference between us, as well as his teenage children from a previous relationship. While I've been supportive of his kids by providing for them, unfortunately, their gratitude has been lacking. Initially, we established an understanding that his children's financial responsibilities would fall on him. My professional career has flourished, resulting in considerably higher disposable income over the past 5 years. This is due to both my higher earnings and the absence of expenses related to children, such as education costs. In cases where my husband can't afford certain vacations, I've been willing to calculate his share, as there's no harm in discussing such matters. However, one of my personal passions involves investing time and resources into horses. This interest dates back to my childhood, and I rekindled it around the time of my marriage. After careful consideration, I recently made the decision to fulfill a childhood dream and purchased a reasonably priced Dutch warmblood with an exceptional pedigree. While this was a notable expense in terms of US dollars, it held immense sentimental value. Normally, my husband wouldn't comment on such matters. However, a complicating factor has arisen due to his child undergoing gender reassignment surgery, a potentially costly procedure. None of the involved parties, including my husband, his ex-partner, or the child, possess the means to cover the expenses, especially considering that the child is no longer covered by parental health insurance. They approached me with the request to financially contribute to the surgery, which I declined. The surgery is not aligned with my priorities for allocating funds. This decision has triggered anger from my husband, who questions my willingness to spend a substantial amount on a horse while refusing to contribute to the surgical costs. To prevent my husband from linking these two disparate matters, I've chosen not to finance the surgery. This decision reflects my reluctance to delve into complex dynamics with his children. Given this context, do you believe it's unwise for me to have purchased a new horse while refraining from funding a portion of someone's surgery? While the situations are distinct, a horse purchase versus a medical procedure, they do share common considerations. In summary, I previously maintained my own living space until colleagues convinced me to move in with them and split the rent. Currently, I'm residing in my girlfriend's father's apartment alongside her mother. This living arrangement emerged from necessity when the house I was leasing was put up for sale. Consequently, my girlfriend and her mother have graciously provided substantial support, covering a few months' rent and the required deposit. I truly value every penny, despite the inherent stress of managing our life with my limited income. The challenge arises from the fact that it will primarily be just the two of us relying on my earnings. Consequently, I find myself meticulously planning, scouting locations, and crunching numbers to make ends meet. Typically, I do well for myself with a fixed salary, occasionally receiving raises that get me closer to a certain amount. However, my role includes certain incentives tied to performance, which are somewhat unreliable. On the other hand, my girlfriend's journey has been different. She hasn't pursued work since high school and has always resided with her family. Presently, she continues to live at home. Her days are filled with leisure, indulging in gaming, reading Marvel comics, and engaging in her interests. Regrettably, household chores often fall on me. I return from my full-time job with 9-hour shifts during the weekdays and 6-hour shifts on Saturdays to cook and tidy up. Even at work, I engage in some number crunching before unwinding with activities like Cellar or spending time in World of Warcraft. Given our situation, I reached out to her today with a suggestion for her to consider partaking in a part-time job at a local pet store, considering her love for animals, or explore the possibility of pursuing college courses paid for by me to uncover a career path she might enjoy. Regrettably, her response was a mix of offense and upset feelings. She took my suggestion as a criticism, and while I tried to explain my concerns, she perceived my words differently. I reassured her that my intention wasn't to insult her, but her feelings remained hurt. She then expressed her aversion to employment, not due to her intelligence, but due to deeply rooted reasons. She conveyed her disagreement but assured me she wasn't angry with me. Her viewpoint became clearer as she elaborated. She wasn't against work because she believed herself to be unintelligent, but rather due to a range of personal convictions. She even mentioned that her sentiments weren't directed at me. In a raw moment of frustration, I posed a question that questioned the inconsistency in her perspective. Wasn't it contradictory to reject work while relying on the efforts of others? This comment seemed to deeply upset her. I hadn't anticipated the link she drew between her previous statement about preferring not to live if she had to work and my question. In retrospect, I can see how my words might have been insensitive. To an outside observer, this whole scenario might appear perplexing or misguided. However, at this point, I'm struggling to piece together the puzzle, and it's possible my emotional state is clouding my understanding. In any case, I've recently come to this realization. Every aspect of our relationship is truly wonderful, except for this one particular aspect. However, I understand that this aspect holds significant weight, so if you've managed to read this far, I sincerely thank you for your attention. About a year ago, my life took a dramatic turn when I was involved in a severe car accident. A drunk driver ran a red light, causing a pickup truck to collide with me, propelling my vehicle into two different areas before it eventually ended up in a river. The aftermath was devastating. My car was completely wrecked and my leg suffered such extensive damage that it necessitated surgical amputation. Additionally, I lost two fingers, one partially and the other entirely, leaving me with visible scars that used to trouble me. However, I've learned to come to terms with these scars as a part of my life now. Financially, I received compensation from various insurance sources, including funds for my hospital bills and for the pain and suffering I endured. With the compensation, I was able to acquire a custom-made prosthetic leg to replace the one I had lost. While I still experience a slight limp, some days are better than others. Recently, I went shopping with my girlfriend, sister, her flatmate, and her mother. I was the one driving, having mastered the skill of driving with my left foot. The accident took a toll on my mental well-being, leading to PTSD that required extensive therapy to overcome. I used some of the compensation to purchase a new car named Tros. Unfortunately, I continue to grapple with chronic pain in my hip, neck, and back due to the injuries sustained. Furthermore, the medical coma and subsequent intubation led to lung complications like pneumonia. Despite these challenges, I am currently managing well. My ability to walk has been compromised, often leaving me fatigued. Consequently, being able to park close to an entrance has proven immensely helpful. I utilize a disabled parking pass for my car. Today, I unintentionally yielded to someone who was searching for a parking space. Apparently, the woman had been seeking an enclosed space and had overlooked the one I had occupied. So she took a detour and circled around to return. When I entered the scene, she was still on the opposite aisle. Consequently, I didn't impede her path in any way, but I was completely unaware that she was seeking that parking spot. She chose to park in the marked yellow area, exited her vehicle, and promptly confronted me regarding my use of a space intended for individuals with genuine needs. She portrayed me as an indifferent individual, lacking consideration for those who are truly unwell or experiencing pain. In an assertive tone, she requested that I relocate my group while insisting that I create some distance. However, similar incidents have arisen in the past, even escalating to police involvement once. I've grown weary of people assuming that my youth equates to a lack of legitimate requirements for special accommodations. I acquiesced and made my way towards my car as though preparing to leave. My attire included jeans, obscuring the view somewhat. However, when I resumed my seat, I extended my leg to reveal the scar, which might not have been initially visible. I queried whether it would be acceptable for me to park there again. Her response was to walk away, labeling me as distasteful and bothersome. She asserted that I could have simply communicated with her rather than resorting to tactics that made her appear irrational. The situation caused discomfort among my companions, who criticized me for complicating matters, especially given the sizable crowd around us. Hence, I ask for your input, friends. Did I err by frustrating my acquaintances when I confronted the individual who questioned my eligibility to use a handicapped parking space? And that's how my story goes. I hope you had fun watching and listening to it. If you did, please show some love by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I post new stories every week, so don't miss out on them. And if you have any questions or comments about this story, feel free to leave them down below. I always appreciate your feedback and support. Bye for now.